Human power, animals, and wood were the main sources of energy recorded in earliest times. Howbeit, renewable sources like sunlight, water, and wind were being used in their simplest forms to process food. In the 1500s, charcoal and firewood served as the primary sources of energy around the world, especially in England. And as its population increased, there was a rise in the demand for more energy. Wood had served several purposes. It was used for heating, developing mills for food processing, and producing carts for movement. The very first major energy transition started with coal mining in Great Britain, but took several centuries before these fossil fuels became a universal solution to energy demand. The transition from wood to coal was predominantly because of scarcity and price of wood. Britain experienced an alarming growth in their population that led to the rapid shrinking of their forests. This forest exhaustion and resource depletion was not just peculiar to Britain, but had happened in previous eras like countries in Lebanon and had crumbled hopes of civilization. And as wood became scarce, its prices rose and fostered the need for alternative source of energy. Coal's transition from the onset was slow. Several factors were introduced for its adaptation. New technologies such as the steam engine and economic incentives led to its increase in the demand, and coal became applicable to different spheres of life, like residential cooking, heating, mining, and transportation. The next energy transition that followed was the commercial discovery of crude oil in Pennsylvania in 1859. In the 1800s and the 1900s, rock oil was being processed by chemists to generate fuel for lamps.
Evening, Miss Withers. I've got something here I'd like to show you.
Well, I'm a mite busy right now. What is it?
This right here, it's a coal oil lamp.
A coal oil lamp?
Yes.
Well, I allow as how I never even heard of it.
What's the matter, Marty? What has he got?
It's a new invention, a coal oil lamp.
Oh, well, we've got no time to bother with it. We're just about to have our supper.
Now, hold on, Mr. Withers. Let me tell you about this lamp. It's going to make things a lot easier and pleasanter for you. You see, it takes the place of candles.
My father got along without using newfangled contraptions, and so do I.
It gives a brighter light than a candle. No flickering and easy on the eyes. Why, you can read the finest print by it.
My father got along without reading fine print, and so do I.
It's a lot cleaner, too. You know, Miss Withers, how candles are, always dripping grease on your clothes and on your tablecloth. Candles make washing.
My father got along without washing, and so...
Esri? Never mind.
But not just rock oil was being used. Whale oil became the primary source to fuel lamps. And as whales were going extinct and its oil running expensive, the search for rock oil or an alternative sustainable source led to the oil boom that spread through Pennsylvania in 1859 and other oil-rich states. Crude oil became the main energy source through kerosene to power lamps, replacing whale oil, while other parts of the oil were disposed of as they had no use, which drove up the cost of refineries. In a bid to consume gasoline, known as petrol in Africa, the automobile internal combustion engine was invented. crude oil showed superior qualities and flexible uses as its distillation process were into 3 applicable parts, such as gasoline, kerosene, and diesel, and as well as other heavy fuels that spurred the industrialization of the world. Oil's popularity and demand peaked during the First World War as access to oil for transportation of trucks, troops, warplanes, and submarine tanks gave rise to military power. Then the next big thing, an energy transition, the use of electricity. This transition was as a result of man's solution of converting primary energy sources such as coal and oil to electric power. The growth of oil and electricity sparked more technological inventions from the United States of America, like coal had done with Great Britain. An example is with Thomas Edison and his improvement in the powering source for the electric bulb through the use of a coal-fired generator at the Pearl Street Station power plant. Oil carried great advantages. It was more flexible and adaptable to use. It was faster and better fought a vast array of technological advancements. Oil, electricity, and the internal combustion engine replaced the older coal-based technologies that led to the agricultural and industrial revolution that relied both on human and animal labor for industrial production. Mechanized farming was introduced, availability of transport systems for moving large-scale products and inputs, and as well as the provision of fertilizers and other agrochemicals. Today, the bells are ringing again on another energy transition, the transition from fossil-based fuels to renewable energy. This is simply the conversion of nature's energy sources for power generation, and the likes include sunlight, water, wind, and air. This demand of energy transition is as a result of rapid climate change, which is said to be caused by the emission of greenhouse gases, mostly results from the burning of crude oil products. The Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change under the United Nations COP26 set up targets for a net zero greenhouse gas emissions, which means the cutting of greenhouse gas emissions to as close as possible to zero, with other emissions reabsorbed from the atmosphere by the oceans, forests, and the likes, creating a balance between the greenhouse gas that goes into the atmosphere by its removal out of the atmosphere. So where does this leave Africa? With barely 4% on global carbon emissions, Africans are coerced to take an energy transition part they had little or no business contributing in. How does a global energy transition serve Africans who are in the midst of massive economic developments empowered by fossil fuels? Keep watching the Invest and Trade Africa show.